you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Dana Villa from Chicago, USA. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Catholic bishops in Nigeria are appealing for peace, advising citizens to uphold the law, encouraging them to pray as election results came out. Tensions are mounting in the wake of the declaration that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has won the presidential race. The 70-year-old Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress, or the APC, party will succeed Muhammadu Buhari. With the announcement of Tinubu's victory, anger is growing and opposition leaders are demanding fresh elections, alleging that the results were rigged. The bishops have also questioned the voting process transparency. They expressed disappointment at the Independent National Electoral Commission over its conduct. Archbishop Lucius Iwojuru Ugurji, president of the Bishops' Conference, regretted that the experiences of many voters on Election Day were a far cry from the hitch-free exercise that was repeatedly processed. On Wednesday, March 1st, the Vatican has released the official logo and motto of the Apostolic Journey of the Holy Father to Hungary from April 28th through the 30th. Christ is our future is the motto for this 41st apostolic journey to Budapest. The logo depicts the Budapest Chain Bridge, the oldest Hungarian bridge over the Danube River, which is a symbol of the capital city and the nation. The bridge was originally built to connect the cities of Buda and Pest. The logo is bordered by a circle symbolizing both the Eucharist and the world redeemed by Christ. The director of the Holy See Press Office, Matteo Bruni, said during his 3-day journey, the Pope will visit refugees and poor people, as well as children of the Blessed Laszlo Batthyány Stratman Institute. He also scheduled to celebrate Mass for the faithful and address authorities, the clergy, and the religious. On Wednesday, March 1st, Attorney General Merrick Garland answered questions from senators about the alleged anti-Catholic and anti-pro-life bias within the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI, and the Department of Justice, or DOJ. The Attorney General described as appalling a now retracted Richmond FBI letter that proposed looking into traditionalist Catholics for suspected connections to domestic terrorists in his answers to questions before the Senate Judiciary Committee. During heated exchanges with the Republicans about whether federal agencies are biased against the pro-life movement in their enforcement of federal laws, Garland supported the DOJ and the FBI. Garland was criticized for not providing a definitive answer to some of the questions. Meanwhile, Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Representative Chip Roy demanded answers from Garland on the allegations that the FBI secretly recorded a meeting of a progressive anti-abortion group. They sent Garland a letter on Wednesday amid the hearing regarding the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising's PAAAU allegations of an undercover FBI agent secretly recording one of their meetings. The investigation into a string of instances involving toxic fumes in girls' schools was ordered by Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi on Wednesday, March 1st. Some officials believe these incidents are related to attacks on women's education. Since November, hundreds of girls at about 30 schools have been ill, some of whom ended up in hospitals. Authorities originally dismissed the instances, only now admitting the scope of the crisis. Children have been reported feeling dizzy, lethargic, or otherwise unable to move. Others claim to smell cleaning agents and chlorine. President Raisi stated at a cabinet meeting on Wednesday that the Interior Ministry should investigate the occurrences with assistance from the Health and Intelligence Ministries and quickly make the findings public. This is the first time he has publicly addressed the poisonings. Pope Francis has sent a message to express his condolences for Tuesday night's train crash near the Greek city of Larissa, assuring those affected of his prayers. On Tuesday night, a passenger train carrying some 350 people and a freight train crashed head-on in the northern Tempe Valley. At least 43 died in the incident, although authorities anticipated the number of casualties to grow. The government of Greece has declared a 3-day national mourning and ordered flags to fly at half-mast until Friday in honor of those who died in the train crash. Greek President Katerina Sakellaropoulou expressed sorrow over the tragic incident. Rescue teams are continuing to search for survivors. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act received full approval from the West Virginia legislature on Tuesday, February 28, and will now be sent to the governor's desk for his signature. The Religious Liberty Bill was approved by the majority Republican West Virginia Senate with 30 votes in favor and 3 against. Having previously been approved by the state's House of Delegates on Monday, the legislation now only needs Republican Governor Jim Justice to sign it into effect. The bill guarantees West Virginians freedom from any state interference that may substantially burden a person's right to exercise religion. Republican State Senator Amy Grady said, "This is not a tool for discrimination, it is a shield to protect all people." As part of a nationwide amnesty announced by Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei to mark the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution in 1979, church leader Youssef Nadarkhani was freed on Sunday. The pastor is currently in Tehran to complete the formalities related to his release, according to Christian Solidarity Worldwide. As soon as these formalities are completed, he will travel to Rasht to be with his family. The 46-year-old Nadarkhani was imprisoned in Tehran's Evin jail for 6 years for propagating house churches and supporting Zionist Christianity. Nadarkhani has been in and out of prison numerous times for his faith. He was given a death sentence in 2010 for leaving Islam and embracing Christianity. Nadarkhani was charged by Iranian authorities with endangering the nation's security by engaging in Christian activities. Later, he was found out not guilty. Deacon Saheb Faedi was also released as part of the recent amnesty. Mississippi is the most recent U.S. state to prevent children from getting sex change surgeries. This brings the total number of states that have done so to almost a dozen. Tuesday, February 28, saw the passage of House Bill 1125, also known as the Regulating Experimental Adolescent Procedures Act, by Republican Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. The legislation was previously endorsed by the Republican-controlled Mississippi House of Representatives 7830 and the Republican-controlled Mississippi Senate 3315. According to the legislation, no one under the age of 18 may be given gender reassignment operations on purpose. The bill defines gender transition procedures as the prescription of puberty-blocking drugs, cross-sex hormones, or gender reassignment surgeries. A group of pro-life doctors was denied permission to put up a booth at the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or the ACOG annual conference this week. ACOG is the top professional association for gynecologists and obstetricians in the United States. The American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or the AAPLOG, had been granted permission to host a booth at the conference for 15 years. The doctors came to know that the host had canceled their booth once they got to Maryland, the location of the conference. Dr. Christina Francis, president of the pro-life group, said in a video posted to Twitter that they received only a vague explanation. The International Commission of Human Rights Experts in Ethiopia, the organization tasked with looking into human rights violation in the Ethiopia-Tigray conflict, received a request from Ethiopia to end its mandate on Tuesday, February 28th. A group of 60 civil and human rights organizations urged the United Nations to reject this request. While Ethiopia struggles with the conflict, the groups led by Human Rights Watch, or HRW, noted the lack of trust Ethiopians have in the government institutions as a reason to maintain ICHREE. According to HRW, Ethiopia's attempts to terminate the mandate during its term is unprecedented, following Ethiopia's declaration on February 15, 2023, that it will file a resolution calling for the dissolution of the ICHREE. The demand to reject Ethiopia's draft resolution was made. From the beginning, Ethiopia had opposed ICHREE and had introduced many resolutions at the UN General Assembly to prevent funding for the organization. The Florida House of Representatives filed a bill that aims to restrict the use of gender pronouns in school. In a statement, Representative Adam Anderson said, quote, "This bill promotes parental rights, transparency, and state standards in Florida schools. It requires that lessons for Florida's students are age-appropriate, focused on education, and free from sexualization and indoctrination." End quote. House Bill 1223 defines sex as the division of individuals based on reproductive function. The bill would mandate that a person's sex is an immutable biological trait, and it is false to ascribe to a person a pronoun that does not correspond to such person's sex. The bill also includes proposed changes to the parental rights in education law introduced last year by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. It aims to restrict lessons and discussions of gender identity and sexuality through 8th grade, an increase from 3rd grade. A Catholic bookshop in Jacksonville, Florida, has filed a lawsuit against the city, arguing the rule violates its constitutional rights and that it could be forced to adopt a customer's preferred pronouns even when they do not correspond to the customer's biological sex. The Human Rights Ordinance of the city is the subject of a lawsuit brought by the Queen of Angels Catholic Bookshop in the Middle District of Florida, Jacksonville Division. Lesbian, homosexual, bisexual, and transgender persons now have more protections under the city's anti-discrimination statute, which was expanded in 2020. The lawsuit claims that the law bans them from formalizing an official pronoun policy that is in line with the Catholic understanding of sex and gender, and that it forces them to acknowledge transgender pronouns, including so-called neopronouns that do not reflect either the male or female gender. Pope Francis has requested that people pray particularly for abuse victims within the Church for the month of March 2023. The Holy Father urged people to pray during this month for those who suffer because of the evil received by members of the ecclesial community, and he exhorted the faithful to remember them in their prayers so that they may discover in the Church a real response to their grief and suffering. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.